Welcome to episode 29 of the Twig Snapper Podcast. It's been a while since we've had an episode. Hard finding times, schedules matching up now that college has started up for a lot of people and people are busy now in the fall. But we've got a guest today, Emma Harvey of Yale Women's Hockey. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited.
Yeah, of course. So let's start in the beginning, kind of in your junior hockey experience. I've never really talked about, I've had a couple other D1 women's hockey players on, but I've never really talked about their junior experience. I feel like I always talk about guys' juniors, and I know a lot about that, but not really about women's juniors. You played in the Provincial Women's Hockey League. So I guess if you could talk a little bit about your experience in juniors.
Yeah, I ended up playing in my hometown all the way through. So I was playing Bantam when I moved up to juniors. I started playing when I was 15 for London. Um, and I had a really, really good experience where I got to play all 3 years. I had one COVID year, but we did get to scrimmage and practice still. But, it's one of the most intense leagues to play in for junior for women. And you get to play with some really, really top players and really top caliber players every single night. And you can guarantee that almost every single team has U Sports and NCAA players on their team that are some of the best in the nation. Absolutely.
And you just said you played in your hometown the whole time?
Yeah, so I started playing in London when I was about 4 or 5, and I played London Develettes all the way through. Got to play for my junior team in London, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty special. I mean, obviously getting to play juniors anywhere is exciting, but when you get to play in front of your hometown, people you know are coming to watch and you get to represent your hometown the whole time, that's got to be extra special.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it felt really good to be able to do that and play for London the entire time. And it was really special for me too. I mean, the rink was 5 minutes from my house. I would drive over right after school sometimes, and it was a really special experience for me. And I had a ton of fun, and I got to play with some top caliber players that I play against now in the NCAA. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, definitely. So then with recruitment, obviously you chose Yale. Were there other schools that were high on your list that were, a tough choice, or was it pretty clear you wanted to play for Yale?
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, I really took my time with the recruitment process. My process was a little different just because when I was going through into the 11th grade, that's when the rule change happened when conversation had to be halted between coaches and players until the 11th grade. So that was during my process. I did look at a few other schools. I got to tour lots of other schools in Canada and the US, but um, I did commit to Yale during the COVID period. So I actually never saw the school before I committed. But I really felt a connection with the coaches and the program and the academics and the values of the team. And it all meant a lot to me. And it just seemed like the perfect fit for me.
So not seeing the school, once you showed up, were you happy with your choice, the facilities, the campus?
That's the thing. When I was talking to my coaches and like going through my recruitment process, I was thinking to myself, I was like, it's one of the top schools in the world, has to have some top caliber facilities, right? So when I got on campus, I was so excited, and I was looking at pictures of the rink when I was going through my recruitment process, but when I got in the rink and I was standing there, it was exactly what I wanted. It has lots of character, but it's so nice, and it's super special to me, and it's probably my favorite place, and that's where I am right now. And I study here. We obviously skate here, and it's such a special place to me.
Do a lot of people just kind of hang out at the rink?
Yeah, I'm in my lounge right now, so we have like lots of food here. We all study here. Our gym is here. We have our training room here. Everything is here for us. So unlike some of the teams on campus who have to share a facility like a main gym, everything is here for us. And yeah, a lot of people will just hang out here between the men's and the women's team. And it's a pretty special place, and we're really, really lucky to have it.
Yeah, definitely a lot nicer not having to share with other teams and you have your own space. It's got to
No,
be.
exactly. Yeah, it's so special.
So, and your freshman year, you played in 33 games. You had 1 goal and 4 assists. Just, I guess, summarize how your freshman year went. Did it meet your expectations? Were you stressed? Was it harder than you thought, easier than you thought?
Yeah, I think that I knew in my mind coming in that the jump from junior to the NCAA was going to be a really big one. I unfortunately didn't have a season to play before I came just because of the COVID year, and we didn't get to play any games. So coming into it, I was definitely very, very nervous. I remember stepping on the ice, and we're stepping on the ice with girls who are 4 years older than you, and have lots of experience and are amazing players and amazing leaders in the room. And you're just wanting to impress them as well as your coaches for sure. So definitely coming in off the start was a little nerve wracking, and I felt a lot of pressure, for sure, just because coming in we were ranked eighth in the ECAC, and I think that we kind of took that as a challenge, right? And we are seen as underdogs in that situation, and no one really expected us to rise up the way that we did. So I was definitely feeling the pressure a bit, but I think that something that I did is just kind of focus on myself and focus on making my teammates look better on the ice than myself, and focus on making plays. And I think that's kind of what allowed me to stay in the lineup when I did. Yeah, and just even being allowed in the lineup last year really, really meant a lot to me, and it felt like the coaches put a lot of trust in me as a freshman, to be a part of that lineup with such talented players.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely playing in that many games as a freshman puts you in a really good position moving forward. I mean, some people, you only get in a handful of games, 10, 15 games their freshman year, but when you get that many and you get that experience playing with older kids and playing against older kids, it really sets you up for the next couple of years.
No, yeah, exactly. Like I said, I felt really, really excited and super honored to have the opportunity to play in that many games and to play with talent on my team like we have, as well as playing against players who are the top scorers on their team or the top scorers in the NCAA even, really meant a lot to me and gave me such kind of a viewpoint to what I needed to achieve and the goals I needed to meet to be able to stay in the lineup and to be able to compete against my players as well as other teams.
Yeah. And one of your assists came in the Frozen Four. I mean, anytime you get points, that's exciting. That's the goal. You want to get points, but it's got to be a little more special when it's in such a major game. And was the assist for the game-winning goal?
So yeah, that assist. um, so yeah, we did unfortunately lose that game to Ohio State, right? But we
Uh-huh.
did. That was our one goal of the game. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but
I'm getting a little
yeah,
mixed.
that assist means a lot to me, and it does stick with me quite a bit. I mean, I was I I was so excited to be a part of that game and so excited to be in the lineup. And I just remember how nervous I was. I was so nervous, because it's difficult to be on a team where we do have so many players and so many players that do unfortunately not dress for certain games, and like I've been in that situation as well. And so you want to play for your teammates, but also the players that don't get the opportunity to dress as well. So I remember being so nervous for that game just because it was a huge game for us and it was historic for our program. And yeah, it means a lot to me that I was able to be a part of our goal for our team and able to apply some pressure there. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest assist in the world and it wasn't the prettiest goal, but they all count, right? So, yeah, I was so excited for that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as it goes in. That's what
Exactly.
counts. Nobody's gonna look back and say that was an ugly goal. They're gonna say you scored. That's what matters.
Exactly. Yeah. No. And I think that looking back at that and seeing how excited all of our seniors were for that goal as well, and how much that meant to them, just because it's been a long road for them. They've been playing for 4 years, and this is just a historic thing that we'd gotten to do and go to the Frozen Four. And it didn't work out in our favor in the end, but I think that puts a little chip in our shoulder. We want to be in that position again, and we want to go all the way for sure.
Right. So obviously, not the end you want to a season. You want to go all the way. With that being said, now there's a little more expectations for you guys, high rankings. Do you guys pay attention to that this early on, or are you guys kind of pushing all that talk to the side and just focusing on your team and your game? Or are you looking, saying like, "Oh, hey, we're ranked, whatever."
I think that we all look at that and we all kind of see where we are ranked, because I think that we did earn that ranking because we worked really really hard last year, and we had a lot of players that were such special components to our team. So I think that does mean a lot to us, but unfortunately when it comes time to play, those rankings don't necessarily play into how you do as a team. It's how the team bonds. It's how the team connects on the ice, right? So I think that we do take into account that we were ranked very highly this year, and we're so excited about that. But I think that we have to turn our focus to connecting on the ice and making sure that we can honor that ranking and we can show everyone how good we can be.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, it's a hard question to ask, like, what do you expect the team to do? But like, where do you see the team compared to last year? Do you think you guys are in a good spot compared to your team last year and what you guys can do?
Yeah, I think we're in a great spot this year. I mean, we are a very tight knit team, and we did lose a few players last year that were key components in our leadership group. But we have an incredible senior class this year that are great leaders to us, and we are a very, very connected team. And I think that shows on the ice. The connections that we make off the ice really show in the way that we play with each other and the way that we, keep each other accountable on the ice, but also lift each other up. So I'm very, very excited about where we're at so far in this year, and I think that we're really, really doing well so far and connecting super well.
And you guys have that playoff experience now. The ones that didn't, which will really help this year. It's a higher level of hockey once you get into the playoffs. So you've got that little bit of extra experience that'll help you this year.
No, yeah, exactly. Having that experience in the playoffs and having that NCAA tournament experience means a lot to us, and being able to tell what kind of work that took to get there, as well as the competition level of being in that tournament and being in those playoffs. We had the heartbreaking loss to Colgate in the ECAC finals, and I think that gave us a purpose. But I think that we also need to look back on that and remember how that felt. Remember how it felt to have it kind of taken away from us in that sense. I mean, to look back on that and just work even harder.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any personal goals for this year? Anything that you want? Do you want to hit a certain amount of goals? You want to do something, or you more like a team goal?
Yeah, I guess like personal goals. I've kind of always had the same personal goal going through junior, going through kind of like minor hockey, and I personal goals are always just to, I kind of reflect on like in goals and assists and stuff like that. Sometimes you can't control that, sometimes you can, but you can always control being the hardest worker for sure. And my goal is to always be able to outwork anyone, absolutely. And I always keep a personal goal that you want to make your line mates, your teammates look better than you. So personal goal is to be the hardest worker for sure and to make my teammates look better than me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm assuming the team goal, once you guys got so close last year, would be to win a national championship. Like, it's got to be the end goal. I mean, it's everyone's end goal.
Yeah, I mean, being that close to it, and sometimes I even personally, sometimes it's difficult to even think about how close we were because it just didn't feel real. Just because from the start we were ranked kind of as an underdog, like we just weren't fully there yet, and being able to kind of reflect now and being like, wow, we were what 2 games away from being in a national championship position. It's bittersweet for sure, but like I said, chip on our shoulder, and I think that we want that feeling and we want to be able to bring that home for our team for sure.
Definitely. I think women's college hockey has moved in a good direction and more of like a balance of power. I feel like for a few years there were certain teams, Wisconsin and some other teams that were just so dominant. It was hard. Now I feel like things have kind of balanced out and there's multiple teams that can contend for a title each year.
Absolutely. And like that's just part of it being in the ECAC. I find is that every single night's competition. There's no night off. Every single team has key players on there that can absolutely take over a game for sure. So reflecting on that, like there's no nights off in the ECAC, and our coach says that all the time. Like you can't afford to take a night off because every single team in this conference is competitive and has an opportunity to for sure win a national championship.
Right, and that helps you throughout the season too. I mean, playing in such a tough league for teams that, maybe they have an awesome record, they win their conference, but then they make the playoffs and they're not used to the higher level of competition. It's a little bit harder than, you play that tough competition every, weekend. Your series are all competitive. It really helps you guys toughen up as a team.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's kind of where that's how we got where we were last year, where it was we were competing every single night for games, for wins and stuff like that. They're just you can't afford to take nights off in this league, and that does push you as a team, and it pushes you as a player for sure. And it's a mindset thing as well, where you have to be mentally prepared to play every single game. because you never know what team's going to show up on that ice for sure.
Right. So do you have any special pregame routines? Some people have superstitions or different things they do before a game. Do you have anything special?
So it's kind of shifted a bit since I've come to Yale, just because it was a little different in junior. I would drive to the rink. I'd always go to Starbucks, like stuff like that. But now I walk to the rink. I typically stop. I'll go get a coffee on the way. Usually an iced latte. Get a coffee and I'll walk to the rink. And I typically like to walk alone. I have certain songs I like to listen to. I have a certain lineup of songs that I find that get me pumped up, but also like kind of routine, right? Get to the rink. I typically tape my stick in my dress clothes and then get changed for warm up and probably grab a snack or grab a granola bar or something like that. And I typically have lots of water for sure. And then I'm trying to think what else to do. I guess my favorite game day kind of ritual routine is we always play sewer together, and we'll play sewer for a long time on game days, and everyone gets involved. And no matter if you're a player that's dressing or not, everyone loves playing sewer on our team. It's a big thing for us. So that's probably my main game day routine. And it'll depend on like how I played the game before, if I change up my hairstyle for warm up or if I'll like, switch it up a little bit. But yeah, typically my game day centers around playing sewer before we get going for warm up for sure.
Definitely. And pretty much the same thing for away games too. Same kind of routine.
Yeah. The only difference that usually plays in is me and my the person I sit next to on the bus, my teammate. We interchange who brings candy on the bus. So we're big. I'm big into the candy on game days. So gets you a little extra sugar rush. So that's the only thing, is that we switch off who brings candy. So it's kind of different kinds of candy sometimes.
Do you have a go-to candy, or do you like to mix it up every time?
My mom, she ships me candy from Canada. It's they're sour jujubes from a grocery store in Canada that I really really like. So she'll usually ship me about 10 bags or so, and yeah, that's my go-to candy. And then my teammate usually bring like gummy bears or like sour keys. But yeah, I'm big into the sour jujubes. That's my thing.
So you guys go for like pure sugar candy, no chocolate.
No, no chocolate. It's too heavy. They don't have the jump, gotta have the speed. Yeah, no, I'm the sour jujubes. That's my go-to. Absolutely.
Awesome. What about when you're not playing hockey? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
Hobby wise, I typically like, I guess, not really hobby. I spend a lot of time studying. Um, hobby wise, I'm big into running. I love to run. It's something I did all summer. I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about coaching hockey as well. I know it's kind of still interchangeable with hockey, but I'm really, really passionate about that. And I've had the opportunity to do that for the past few years back home, and getting to teach lots of kids and being in the community. It's been really, really awesome. So yeah, no, typically hobby wise, me and my teammates, we kind of just hang out and stuff like that. And I guess my biggest hobby would be I like to run and stuff like that. So yeah, I love hockey.
So, so if you like coaching, is that something you'd want to do when you're done playing? Have you ever thought about that, becoming a coach?
Yeah, I definitely have thought about it. I mean, it's over the past few years, it's definitely become more of a job as well as a hobby, but it's always just kind of stayed as a passion for me. I really enjoy, seeing kids have fun, seeing kids smile when they get a new skill or something like that on the ice. So I think stepping away, once I graduate, stepping away from that, I think coaching would be something I would definitely want to pursue. It's become a big piece of me, and it's become a bigger piece of me than I thought it was going to. I just think that it's been something that I've really enjoyed, and I didn't know that I was going to enjoy it that much for sure when I first started doing it. But yeah, no, definitely something I would be looking into for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's all I've got to talk about. Thank you for coming on this episode. Good luck to Yale women's hockey this year.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course.